with deodorants. So first of all, I assume that you are wanting to make your own deodorant, Serene. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Effective deodorant.
An effective deodorant. Okay.
Yes.
So obviously
Is there such a thing?
Oh, there is, yes. No, it definitely. There's numerous products out there now on the market that are really effective, and they do work. So obviously we want to look at why we want to not have regular deodorants and antiperspirants. So obviously the ingredients we want to avoid is things like in aluminum. So aluminum, parabens, propylene glycol, BTH, phthalates, and fragrancing and perfume from natural sources. So that's just some of the ingredients that are in regular regular deodorants and antiperspirants. And of course you're putting them right underneath your armpit, which is where your lymphatic glands are, and then of course it's taking it around the body. So obviously that's one of the reasons, that's just a couple of the reasons why it's nice to have a natural deodorant. So what would we use instead of? First of all, when you do change to a natural deodorant, do you currently use deodorant at the moment, regular deodorant? Serene?
No, I buy them from the health food store.
So what we want to look at is the ingredients that are in deodorants. So basically what you're wanting is a hardened, it depends on how, I've made deodorants in different formats. So first of all, I've made it in the water component, which is made with witch hazel and basically hydrosols. And then I've added essential oils, and I've added a little bit of sea salt to it too. And and of course essential oils. And I used that myself for the longest time, just spraying on. But some people find that is not enough to combat against bacteria. I've also made deodorants using deodorant sticks. So making using a wax like candelilla wax and also shea butter. And then what I've then done is then again added essential oils, and then what I also add is things like bicarbonate of soda. And then of course you roll it on, and it does protect a lot more than just a wet solution. Now I'm not going to give you this recipe, but I will give you the ingredients that are in this. I make something called Pity Putty, which is a natural deodorant. And people literally, what they do is, because it's in a tin pan, so it's completely eco-friendly, people just dip their finger in and then they rub it on under their armpit. And what I've used now as an ingredient, basic ingredient of this, now you can use beeswax if you wish, candelilla wax, any form of wax that makes a hardening for adding your ingredients to. But what is the ingredient, the active ingredient that seems to help with, how to describe it, with helping against bacteria and also odors, is things like adding arrowroot, bicarbonate of soda, and also cornstarch to dry out, so making it dry. So any starch basically, rice powder would work. But arrowroot and sodium bicarbonate are the two biggies there, especially sodium bicarbonate, because what it does, it deodorizes. So the key ingredient is to mix these ingredients, these powders, into the liquid, the melted waxes and oils, and then basically, and I said from the recipe that you will be able to download, you can see then how much wax to use. So if you want to change to a different form of wax, I've used candelilla wax in my case, but the different waxes I use here you can also add as well. So you just basically take any oil base to any wax base, just take off the percentages. So the waxes I'm using, and I haven't put them up for sale yet, but I will have them for sale, is different waxes. One is what called basin wax, which is actually from the Chinese lacquer tree, and it's used as a an alternative to using beeswax. So that's one of
Is it basil wax? Did you say basil?
It's called basin wax. It's actually from.
Basin.
It's called. If you look up Chinese lacquer tree, you'll see it then. But I am going to be selling this because I use it in this product. So that's one of my waxes that I use in this product. I also use shea butter, and I also use something. I'm not going to say the Latin name here. I could probably put it down, send it to you. But it's also wax from the Japanese wax tree. It's a Japanese wax tree. And what that Japanese wax tree does, it's another alternative to beeswax. It also helps to disperse the powders. So those are the two waxes I'm using in this one. Although, as I said, I had a lot of success with the Candelilla wax as well. This is a little softer because it is a pity putty, so it's very soft inside. So for India, you might want to make it a little bit more tougher, a little stronger with the wax. The oils that I have in there is castor oil. Now, I'm a big fan of castor oil because castor oil helps to detox the body. So adding a touch castor oil is one of the oils. Coconut oil is another ingredient. And they're the two main ingredients basically. And for the perfume, I tend to do, this has just got lemon essential oil in, organic lemon essential oil in, and I do want lavender. And I've just kept it very simple, lavender and a lemon one. So the primary ingredients, what does happen, to warn you, is what sometimes happens, people have complained, is there's little white dots that come up on the top, and that's just from the sodium bicarbonate. So you just let people know that it's not mold. It is just sodium bicarbonate that's coming to the surface. And I also put stearic acid in here as well, and that's what sometimes shows up. So that is my pity putty. So when you get the recipe of how much wax and how much oil, you can just exchange. And then I made it for a solid stick. So you might want to use a little bit more oil according to, as opposed to wax. So does that make it clear for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. The powders I use is not very, yeah, sorry, yeah, question?
No, so there's no staining on the clothes with the coconut oil and castor?
No, because it's mixed in with the waxes and everything. So I've not found it stains.
Okay.
Of course, you rub it in well first thing in the morning. It does last all day.
Excellent.
Some people were complaining because it doesn't last for 3 days, which kind of surprised me.
Who doesn't have a bath for 3 days?
I know. So, and the amount of powders I use is very little. You know, it's not like it's coated in powders, but it does help to keep it dry and dry it out a little bit. So the powders will help with that.
Excellent.
Okay. So that is on the deodorant. Very simple, really.
I supposedly have an allergic reaction to essential oils.
I suspect it's probably just one essential oil or two essential oils. I wouldn't imagine you'd be allergic to all essential oils. You could try a muscle testing.
I ordered.
Pardon?
I actually took a little risk and I ordered from you, and the geranium was my #1 issue, but I have been able to use your geranium and lavender creamy lotion. I made it. Oh my God, does it smell beautiful with the rose? Oh gosh. I am applying it onto my body slowly. I made like 3-ounce jars of that recipe, Jan.
Okay.
It goes a long way. So I started using it on my face. It's working okay. Started using it on my arms. Working okay. My flare-up is a little eczema on the leg, so I have to be cautious. And sometimes I think it's heat-related to clothing that I wear. And I've tried everything, even linen. And if I get a little bit of a flare-up, you know, I might just hold off for a day or two. But so far, yours has been the best. it slowly with what I trust, and you are why I listen to you. I actually trust what you do and say. And I just, again, that's why I'm here, because you do have good information with products. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. I'm pleased. Yeah, there are many different geraniums out there, essential oils. In fact, actually, when we talk about distillation, here is the geranium plant right here that I use. So we'll talk about that in the distillation. But you should be okay with citrus oils like sweet orange and mandarin and lemon, especially in your deodorants, because they are, there's something you eat anyway. You must eat fruit. So the essential oil is extracted from the rind of the fruit. And you want to make sure that the essential oils you get, especially the citrus, are from organic, because they're from the rind. And if it's not organic, then the pesticides are in the rind as well. And how they extract the essential oils from the fruit of like mandarin, sweet orange, lemon, lime, etc. is it's squeezed. So you get the pesticides in there as well. So more than likely you're allergic to whatever is going on in the processing of making the essential oils. And unfortunately, there's a lot of, I do have a video, but I think it's just open to people who've taken the aromatology course, but I might make that kind of open to the public. And it's basically on what the industry does to adulterations and cutting of the essential oils, especially essential oils from France, which are, they make a lot, 99%, I would say 95% of essential oils made in France are made for the perfume industry. So you can see so if you buy a lavender that's made in France, most of the time it will have been modified. They will have added and taken away chemicals from that lavender and still sold it as lavender to make it comply with the scent of the previous year and the year before that. So they'll add a little bit more linalool, they'll take out some geraniol or whatever it may be to make it exactly the same chemical formula for each year. So it makes the perfume that they're making it for smell exactly the same, because they can't have perfume smelling different from year to year. So that is there's a lot of things that happen in the industry.
Amazing.
So, unless you actually go sometimes, I mean, I have to go on, I've been dealing with essential oils for, 40 years now. And I was lucky enough at the beginning, essential oil companies in the 80s were sending me samples, and I got my supplies very early on, and I pretty well stayed with those suppliers from then. So I get them from all over the world, and I've let some go, I've had some new ones come in, and I've had all the tests done on them. So the idea is to try and get the best possible essential oils I can, for the money, of course, because you can also go crazy and get really exotic ones for costing a lot of money. But geranium is really a superb essential oil. I used it a lot when if I'm in Canada and I'm or in New York and I'm in the country and I get bitten by a mosquito or a black fly, I always took a bottle of geranium with me into the country with me, and I would apply it straight away to the bug bite, and it would take away the itch immediately. And I would just apply it neat, and I would keep going until the itch had gone. So it's an amazing geranium
I remember you.
Yeah. Sorry.
I do remember you sharing that before. And I was amazed because you didn't even dilute it.
No.
That's why I bought it. And of course I did, put it in my lotion. But, if anybody hasn't told you yet, you're a genius. You are a genius.
Oh. Oh, thank you. Well, it's been my life, so I don't do much else.
I mean, to have come from where you've been,
well, thank you. So let's go on to foot detoxification. That's another thing that Serene wanted to know about. Yes? So,
Yes.
to detox, the feet actually are the best place to detox. If you need to detox your body, a foot bath every night is the best way to detox your body. You've got most of your sweat glands are in your feet. That's why reflexology is such a good a treatment method as well. I found it was one of the best treatment methods for the body because you're working on the feet, you're working the thick on the thick what do you call it? On the thick matter at the bottom of the feet, which affects the rest of the body. And to detox the feet, and there's nothing really hard on that. Using a castor oil pack would be a good idea. You know, mixing towels. Have you done castor oil packs before?
I've not done them, but I know of them.
They
for
work.
the liver,
They work.
for the liver and abdomen.
Yeah, they work for a lot of different things. That's why I use castor oil in my castor oil is in the ointment, is in the deodorant. Castor oil is also in one of my best-selling creams, and it also is incredible for removing brown liver spots on the body. It also, what it does, it absorbs.
Jan?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, Christine.
I have used the castor oil when liver area for detoxing, and I'm really impressed with the feet. But I do have a question. I reused the I think it was a wool flannel that I used, but it gets pretty gooky after a while. What is your suggestion on that?
What I did when I was doing regular liver packs, oh gosh, in my 30s, what I used to do was I would wrap up a towel. I would literally it would be completely covered with castor oil. I'd keep it in a plastic bag, and that's how I would do it. And I would just take it out and then put a hot water bottle on when I was going to use it. And I would just keep using it. And of course, if it starts to smell rancid, then of course it's time to change it or get a whole new pack. But you can reuse it quite a bit before it. If you've got a lot of castor oil in there, you don't need to throw it out every time. You can use it for a couple of months until it gets kind of, when you start to smell it getting a little bit rancid, then that's the time to change it. But one way of using castor oil is actually by massaging, first of all, the castor oil, say, into the feet or into the part of the body you want detoxing. But I mean, it's not just going to detox the feet, it gets into the bloodstream and detoxes all through the body. But if you want to use it, for example, I had a big liver spot here, which was like a little mole that had appeared about 10 years ago. And I started rubbing castor oil in every day, twice a day. And then what I would do after it, because it's sticky, I would then put a little of my basic white lotion on top so it would not be sticky anymore. And it started literally within a few days, it started coming off and completely disappeared. So I would, if I was going to do a detox on the feet, I would massage my feet first with castor oil, and then of course it's really goopy. I'd have my water ready, hot water ready with Epsom salts in, sea salt in, and Epsom salts, a combination, and then I would put my feet into the water with the castor oil on, and then soak my feet for about 15 minutes, and then you just rinse off basically. And then so you're not goopy with castor oil afterwards on your feet, is then just the basic white lotion that you can make from the book, just rub that in so it's not goopy on your feet. And then what's happened is the castor oil has, meanwhile, the important part of the castor oil, the ricin, has gone into the skin, into the bloodstream, into the lymphatic system, and it's starting to do its job. And I guarantee if you do that every night for about 7 nights, you'll see an improvement in your health. and that will also help your liver as well. You don't actually have to put the castor oil pack right
That is
here.
amazing.
And another thing with castor oil, I mean, I just love castor oil, that's why. Of course, you want to use the best quality, of course. Is rubbing it on your eyelid will help with things like cataracts and also help you sleep as well. It helps to calm, it helps the nervous system. So castor oil is one of the
Oh my
hidden
God, I'll take
gems.
a gallon of it.
Yeah, and you live in the States, so I would suggest you get the Heritage castor oil. Don't order from me because it would be too expensive, to send, because it's a cheap product to buy. I mean, I have the organic castor oil, of course, and you can always get it from me. If you're ordering other stuff, then adding a kilogram on is no problem. But Heritage, that are based in Virginia Beach, have a really good castor oil, and it's organic. So,
And is black castor oil better than the regular castor oil?
I
and the
don't-
red turkey?
I
The
have
red
no
turkey?
I have no idea. No, red turkey I think has something else in it too. I don't think it's
Sulfur. Sulfur or something like that.
yeah. I'm not bothered because I've just found the regular castor oil work beautifully. And but obviously I wanted to make sure. I mean, my husband used to grow castor oil plants from scratch every year because they grow from seeds every year. And in Canada, because of the heat of, especially in Toronto, if they're in the right position, they grow like trees.
Wow.
And he would plant them right alongside the street, and people would see these huge big plants that are as taller than you, 7 foot, 8 foot high, and people would be taking pictures with them. They didn't know what the hell they were. Beautiful plant, and they just grow from seeds every year.
Wow.
We tried here, but it's not hot enough to get them more than this height. But in Canada, when the heat is like, whoa. So they are poisonous plants, of course. You don't.
Are they poisonous?
Yeah, they are poisonous. Yeah, the plant itself, but the
I
actual
see.
castor oil is really good to apply, and of course people take it internally for constipation and things like that because it makes you go. But externally, and of course I put it in my lipstick, so of course I'm always getting it a little bit inside. But it's absolutely wonderful for detoxing the body. So that's my
And,
tip. Yeah.
You had said that you are upgrading your formulations book. Are you out with the new one or
No.
revised?
I was just
Okay.
finished. I just finished my website, so that was my main thing to get
Yes.
that done, and
Okay.
and also I finally published my soap making book that I'd already written years ago, and I wanted to just add pictures and things like that in it, and also how to use aromatherapy and makeup and things and cosmetics correctly.
Beautiful.
So that's on the website. I do want you to check out my website, see if there's any adverts showing up now, aromashop.com. See if there's see if anything's showing up, if it's opening up okay now. If you can do that for me, I would appreciate that because I can't tell. Yeah, I just want to make sure that everything's working. So I haven't pointed the aromashop.eu I keep saying punt because that's Dutch for dot. Aromashop.eu, I haven't pointed that, I haven't got rid of that yet because I want to make sure everything is okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
And you can change prices to European, to Canadian, to American, so it's all got that on so people can see.
And to Indian?
No, it would be too confusing to people, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it shows up in pounds, dollars, USD, Canadian, and Europe, EU.
Okay.
So I think that's okay for most people.
Yes.
Hi, AC there. Hi. Who's?
Hi, Jan.
Who's?
How are you?
I'm fine.
This is Alma from Canada. I have a question. I've attended your workshop when you were still here, and I have your books too. And I've been reading them. I've been using them for my son that is very allergic, has a lot of allergies.
Yes.
So my question actually, I've tried the different oils. I've actually been using castor oil too. What is the best oil to use? Right now I'm using avocado oil with lavender for him. He suffers from eczema also. Is there any other oil? I've tried other oils. Is there any other oil that I can use for his skin? Because he tends to have get dry skin right now, and different seasons here in Canada has a different effect.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to kind of learn to change what I use for him according to season here.
Yeah, in Canada, you get very dry. Where are you in Canada, sorry?
East of Toronto, towards Bowmanville, Clarington.
Yeah, so it's not so bad. It's not like Calgary. It gets really, really dry. I would make an ointment, and actually the deodorant that I was talking about earlier has different waxes in, and this would be actually quite good for people with eczema. Because it's got the castor.
Is it the one on your book as well?
No. This is I don't even have this out as a formula because it's my own personal thing I'm selling on my website. But basically it's the same formula, but it's just different waxes. So it's got Chinese lacquer tree wax, and I will put. This video is being recorded actually by another camera, so you're not all showing up. So I am going to put that out to you so you can look up what I spoke about before with this, the different waxes that we're using. And there is I will send a link to the recipes for the solid deodorant, which is what you want to use. But what you want to do is then just change the oils around to include castor oil, avocado oil. Normally would be okay. The problem with avocado oil, I do have, it goes rancid very quickly. So
yes.
And even if you get organic, the shelf life is only about 3 months. So you're having basically something that's not really although it's supposed to help eczema, unless it's really fresh, it's not going to help. So you want things like argan oil is helpful. You got to play with the different oils. I love calendula oil, infused oil, if it's organically infused.
Argan I don't use because it's a nut oil.
Yeah.
And he's allergic to nuts.
Yes. Well, I would say calendula oil, infused calendula oil. That's infused in organic sunflower oil. So that's the seed.
Not the flour?
Yeah, no, the flour, the way we make calendula oil, because I make it here, I grow the calendula plant, and then I dry it, and then I put it into organic sunflower oil, and then I basically put it in the sun for a few weeks until the whole of the essence of the calendula plant is soaked into the oil, and then I just strain it, and you're left with this bright orange color oil. It's quite beautiful, and it's wonderful. It's calming to the skin, calming to the skin. So it's one of the oils that will help. There's a lot of. Sorry. Yeah.
Jan?
Yes.
Christy. I always have a question with herbalists that infuse in the sun. Now, I'm closer to Canada. I mean, we're upstate New York. We have a lot of clouds here. So if I was to put out my calendula flowers that I grow into an organic oil in the sun, I mean, we have a lot of cloudy days. Do you just leave it out there for 2 weeks, or where you are, is it always sunny?
No, in the Netherlands, it's not sunny at all. No, when I was in Toronto, and New York would be just as good as Toronto, I used to put it out. I always got the best infusions in July. And I would leave them, often I'd leave in the glass jar.
Really?
Yeah. I used to just pop it in as soon as I could, because by the time you've grown the plants, especially in Canada, it takes a little bit. You can't plant them as quickly as you can here. So I put them in, I dry them up, because it was better to have them dried. Otherwise you get basically a rancid calendula oil. And then I put them in a glass jar, put the top on, in the organic sunflower oil, and then I just leave it. And sometimes I'd forget about it for a few weeks, so it'd be out there for a month in the sun. It doesn't matter if it's sunny or overcast, but the heat, the July is the best. The next best is August. And New York is hot enough for that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but
That's interesting. What I have done as a workaround, and I'll share this. I don't know what your thought is on this, but when you start seeds, like seeds for plants, I buy those little you put the seeds constantly. Do you know what I mean by the plant starter mats?
oh yes, you can put them. I mean, we just put them on damp cotton, paper towels to get them started before we put them out.
Yeah. Yeah, I have used that to infuse the oil because then the temperature is consistent, and I didn't realize I was okay with like no sun because right now I wonder about the woman that lives in Canada. Those fires are burning so badly in Canada. We are getting the bad air. The quality air has been so poor. Mm-hmm. We can't even go outside without a mask on. It's so sad.
Yeah, I know. I heard
it's
about
so sad.
it.
So my heart goes out to the women in Canada.
Yeah, no.
It's been just so sad. It's just so sad. So we don't have a lot of sunshine here. Mm-hmm. So thanks, Jan, for sharing that one.
Just put it outside because you're still going to get the energy of the sun no matter what, even if it's overcast, even if there's clouds over stuff. And you'll see from the colour that the colour will get stronger and stronger anyway. I still prefer to do that rather than putting the plant into some hot oil and then boiling it on the stove. I don't like that so much. I really like it getting the sun infused. I don't know, I just feel the energy is better. And
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So that's
true. I agree.
Now I did say I was going to
sort of like making a flower.
Yes, yeah. The same thing with flower essences, yeah, exactly the same. Well, I was going to touch on distillation, and we're kind of starting to get a bit running out of time here, but I think we have just enough time, yeah. I think I'll do a whole thing on distillation, but what I thought today is just quickly, because Christine, you're getting a three-tier distill, aren't you? Someone here was getting them. Anyway, there was a lady who is just buying herself, waiting for her still to come.
Yeah, I am.
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
okay. Here's one of my stills. So
it's copper. It's copper, right?
Copper,
or
yeah.
Brass.
It's copper. It's copper.
Copper.
Yeah. So I have a whole bunch of distills, and what I do, I grow this geranium plant here is actually the plant that is used to make the essential oil of geranium, and it's Pelargonium graveolens. So this plant is actually bred for its scent. So this is kind of what I call the original, and they say it's rose scented, so it smells really beautiful. So what I do, in this country we can leave it out pretty well in the winter where I live because I'm pretty well protected. So I'm able to, this is about the third year of this growth of this particular plant. And what I do in the autumn, or when it stops flowering, is I basically take all the plant, dry it for a day or two, and then I pop it into one of these stills. So I pop it right into here with water. It doesn't matter what water it is because it's going to be distilled. In this particular distill, I've got this. You can actually put your plant material in here if you want it to be steam distilled. But for hydrosols, I tend to just pop the plant right in here, fill it up to about, this is for 3 litres, pop the lid back on, put the temperature gauge in, and then I just heat it up, and then the water comes, the steam comes through, with the essence of the plant, and then it goes through the into the coils here, and then it pops out the other side. So that's the way pretty well I make my strawberry hydrosols, my cucumber hydrosols, and I have a bigger still, a larger still as well, and I have smaller stills as well. It's one of my hobbies is distillation. I just love distilling plants.
And do you have to sit and nurse
I have a question.
it throughout the distillation process?
Yeah, you want to make sure, because if you're not there and say something, you want to make sure the temperature is correct. And I have what they call where you have a water, for example, water coming through here and then out, which is cooling the water, and the essence is going through these pipes, and that's where the cooling distillation is happening, the condensing is happening, and then out the other side is coming in the cool hydrosol.
Right.
I sometimes get some essential oil from when I have enough plant, like this one. If I fill this whole pot with this plant, I will get some essential oil out as well. In fact, it'll be just a little bit, but I will get some essential oil. But yeah, you have to, these stills, you do have to nurse them. You know, the temperature. Sorry? Yeah? Hello?
Do you have a ratio, like, you have like a pretty, is yours 3 liters? Now, do you have a ratio of water to plant, or do I just put up what I have with the plant and then cover it over by like an inch of water? I mean, that's what I don't know. Is there a ratio, like how much water you put over your plant material?
Yeah, basically, you do about 2/3 plant to about, and then I have another third of water on top. So I generally put 3 liters in this particular container of water. With the material, because I'm not really selling this, I do it for my own. I just pop the material in. You just don't want it to be so full that it's going through and clogging up anywhere. So this is to protect, actually, in a way, it helps protect any plant material going up there. Because if you get some plant material popping up in here, clogging, then the whole machine can go boom. But it's pretty, I mean, I don't wrap anything around my machine, so if there's any problem, it can usually pop off. But this is why you kind of need to be there when you've got heat underneath. I mean, I remember once I've got a very big still, and I had a wooden table, a little bit like, but it was pressed wooden table that I was using, one of these fold-away tables, and I had a gas thing powered by propane underneath it, and I was lovely having the distillation was going and everything was done, and all of a sudden I felt underneath the table and it was red hot, so I had to kind of quickly turn off the propane and let it just settle down. So you know, I have so you've got to be careful of what you're doing. I mean, this is done on an electric stove, and it's right by the tap, and I've got it all where I set it up nicely. I've got a whole video on it of how I do it. But you know, you've got to be you don't want to be setting it up and just leaving it.
Video.
Yeah.
I watched.
Yeah. Hello? Yeah, you did watch the video, yes.
Watch your video. I love your videos, so I did watch it. I was gonna ask a question. Oh, I know. Yeah, I was gonna ask Lance with the aroma. Could you possibly distill water in it afterwards, or no?
Yeah, you can, but remember it's copper, and it depends on how much copper you want in your own drinking, if it's for drinking water. So there is a little bit of copper that comes through. It will be, you know, that's the beauty
I
of
was thinking more of putting it in my.
putting in your. Oh, if you want to use it for
what
skin.
about if I want to distill my? What about if I want to distill my water?
Oh, if you want to use
If I want to distill my own water to use it back in the distillery instead of buying distilled water.
You don't buy distilled water. You just buy any water. You just tap water will work. That's the whole purpose of distilled water. That's all they're doing, is they're just getting any old water.
I didn't know that.
You don't buy distilled water to put in the distiller. You just use tap water, or any water you want. Rainwater would be the best. Just pop it in there. That's the whole point of distillation, and then what you end up going is it's basically pure.
That was the senior moment.
That's okay. That's the
Oh my
whole.
God, I can't believe I asked that question.
And there's no preservative in the distilled hydrosol.
No, I don't put any. The only one I do it in is the strawberry, because the strawberry hydrosol can go off within about 3 months. So I put some natural. I put a natural preservative in that one, the Lucidal, and that seems to work. But for the cucumber, the geranium, there's natural. The copper acts as a natural preservative in the floral waters. You don't have to add any preservatives. So if you see people where they've added preservatives, then they're not doing something right.
I see.
I have waters that I distilled years ago, and they're still good. Like lavender water I distilled about 7-8 years ago, and it's still fine. And I did some last year.
Have you ever distilled roots?
Yeah, I've done all sorts of. I used to go around the neighborhoods in Toronto and just grab anything and pop it in and see what happened. I used to grow I had an aromatherapy garden in front of my shop, which was just all aromatic plants for aromatherapy. So juniper berry, I had a juniper berry bush. I had the original rose, I had the geraniums, and so on and so forth. And I used to try everything out. The rosemary I had growing there, sage, and then I'd have it analysed to see what the chemical structure was in the resulting essential oil or hydrosol afterwards. You know, even goldenrod I distilled, you know, and that was interesting. Not something you'd really sell, but you can make an essential oil of goldenrod. And I figured out, for example, with goldenrod, that people have allergies to goldenrod. And when I found that when people actually use the essential oil of goldenrod, they actually had less allergies to it, because it's almost like in nature there's always the antidote in nature close to the poison. So if you've got a poisonous spider, there is a plant that grows.
That's why we have certain.
Yeah. So if you.
I believe that we have herbs growing here because.
Yeah. So in nature there is always the antidote. Usually the antidote there if you know what to look for. And so I figured, sometimes in homeopathic medicine, using like a little bit of something to help with problems. So if you're having, I can't think of a thing at the moment, but with homeopathy, using a tiny amount, a point of a point of a point of a percentage, to help with problems with that particular substance. And then that helps the body to go against the allergies and things like that. So I was figuring if people can use like a drop of goldenrod essential oil in an oil blend or in something and apply it to their skin before they go out in goldenrod season, that they might have less allergies. And the people I tried it out on, it worked. I didn't go any further with it than that, because I'm not, I had so many other things going on, but I did try it, and these things do work.
Yeah, I have a question regarding your distiller.
Yeah.
Is that the copper? How about a glass distiller?
Glass is a problem. I do have a glass still. The problem is it loses heat. So you have to, when I had played with my glass still, I had to wrap it in aluminum foil around it and put a blanket around it to keep the heat from escaping outside the glass. So it looks beautiful, but it's not functional for distilling.
Okay.
You can use stainless steel. Stainless steel works fine too. That's what most people use.
Okay.
I just love these copper stills. I'm in love with them. I have them all over the place. I have them as decoration, and if I've got plants and a bunch of flowers, then it becomes a plant pot. I use it for all sorts of things. Yeah. No, distilling is an art form, but and you want to, when you can start making your products, like with the cucumber, I have everything written down, exactly how much cucumber I'm putting in, with how much water I'm putting in, so that I can keep it exactly as much the same as possible. Remember, we're dealing with natural products, so we're not dealing with something that is man-made, so it's going to be slightly different every time. Like at the moment,
So
strawberry.
is it chopped up cucumber that you put in, or
Yeah,
cucumber leaves?
I grow my own cucumbers, and I just chop it all up and grind it all up with the water before I
So
put
it's
it.
not the leaves and the twigs, but it's the fruit,
Cucumber fruit, yeah.
the vegetable.
And the same with strawberries. It's strawberry season here at the moment, so I'm doing a lot of strawberry
Wow.
distillation.
Is this something that you will be including in your books that you will be publishing?
I will do something. There's so many books about distillation out there that I haven't bothered. I mean, there's there's loads of books. The hydrosol. There's a book called Hydrosols where you can just look it up.
And Anne Harmon has just done a book.
Yeah. So I'm not really, I've got so many. I'm basically working on putting all my energy into the cosmetics at the moment and how to make.
Yes.
I do have, as I said, I do have a number of videos out there that I've done on distillation just for fun, just see. And the thing is just to jump in there and do it, and to follow the rules, where you put your pipe in and stuff. I mean, I can do an in-depth video with people on where you pop everything, when you get your still, on how you fit everything together, because that's the only problem with these is you just get the kit but you don't really know how to put everything together and what to mix up. But they're pretty good. This comes from Portugal, and they're pretty good on helping you. It's pretty easy to figure it out how to do the distillation, and then you've just got to basically go from there. And there's so many different stills you can play with too. I've got different types of ones. You can also get one specifically for making essential oils, but then you need to work with a lot more plant material to make the essential oil. Yeah, I mean, sorry?
Sorry.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you do with the residue of the material?
I have one.
Yeah, Christine? Yeah, what I do with the residue, I just put it in compost.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question in regards.
Sorry?
Into mass.
It's dead. It's dead material. What's left over at the end is the residue of the water, which you don't really want, because it's usually, if it's tap water, it's usually really gunky that's left there. You don't want to be putting that on your skin.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I distill my own water, for drinking, and you see the gunk that comes out of tap water. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What you're left with, this yellow chemical residue that's left. Yeah, and through the distillation process, pesticides don't come through the process. So the chemicals don't come through. So if you did a testing, I've got these things that test for metals and things like that. They're at nil on all my distilled products at the end. There's nothing, no metals, no heavy metals, no pesticides come through the process. Christine, you had a question?
Jan,
Yes?
actually I do. I have two now. So you do distill your own water. Do you have a separate distillery just for water distillation?
Yeah, I use a stainless steel still for that, and that's one I can actually leave. Just put it on and leave it. But it's much slower.
Question number
2? Yeah?
Okay.
Question number 2?
And another question, question number 2 is the pump. Now when I buy like an aquarium pump, will those tubes fit all of the distilleries, or do I wait to get the instructions from the one I ordered in Portugal and look for something specific?
You'll need to get yourself these are just basically tubes I bought from a tube. My husband picked them up from a hardware store, and then he just clicks it in, and you can even buy clamps that fit on, although these don't need it, it can just be stuck on. Like, it's getting pretty grungy looking now. That's all I do. I would wait until you've got your still and then go to hardware stores and see if you can find plastic piping that will fit. And have a look at the instructions first before you actually
Excellent.
buy anything. But you don't need to buy too much, but you do need to buy a, this is a clamp here to fit onto the tap. So you need to buy, there's a thing that fits onto your tap that you take off, and then you pop this onto the tap. So your water can go through for the cooling down. So that's the sort of thing you need to purchase, which won't come with your from your stuff from Portugal. And in Portugal you do have, this fits the thermometer in here. So this comes off and the thermometer fits in there. And that all comes with it basically. So they're pretty good on what they send you. And I assume you're getting the little heater that goes with it underneath. Yeah. So there's a little heater that comes with it. So it's all pretty well there. You just need to go buy yourself these things from hardware store.
I don't know.
Well, find out when you find out when you get them.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I know. Thanks for your time, Jan.
And the stainless steel that machine I use is an internal machine. It takes actually this is pretty fast to distill. The stainless steel I use for my drinking water is just a stainless steel internal still that I just pop on in the morning, and then by the evening I've got a few gallons of 8 gallon of distilled water. And that's what I use to drink. Yeah.
I might ask you to send me some information on that one. I might just do that because we use a lot of distilled water because my husband's on a CPAP and he has to use distilled water in that. And I'll tell you, come wintertime in New York State, you can't find it in the store. Very hard.
Well, I found it
distilled water.
In Toronto. I was able to buy big containers of distilled water because I used to use it for soap making. So I used to buy the big jugs of it, basically, that I could buy at any store in Toronto. So I would have thought you would have been able to buy it quite cheaply.
No.
Because distilled water here is very, very expensive.
It's not really expensive. It's not really expensive. You just can't get it. I don't know if people are using it in humidifiers. I don't know what it is. Or maybe the population has a lot of sleep apnea and everybody's on a CPAP. But come wintertime, and you go into a local grocery store here in New York to buy distilled water, and I think it's like a gallon plastic jug, they're hard to come by. I mean, you're lucky to find them. That's why I was really interested. Yeah, I was really interested in distilling my own. So I might just offline get some information.
Yeah,
thank you.
For regular distilling, if you're using just distilled water for making soap and things, and for your creams, then you can use the copper still. For drinking water, I tend to use my stainless steel distilled water.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, think about what you want to ask for the next session in a month from now, and we can always go, I can always do more in depth on different things as well. And then I can put it out to the people way in advance as well, what we're going to be talking about, and we'll probably get more people who are interested in that particular subject. Because at the moment I've just been letting it ride and see what people want just before. But now I'd like to get more in, do more of a dedicated topic for each session, and we can go into in depth. I can even probably do some demonstrations as well on different things as well. So if you can think about what you would like to know for the future, and we won't use Canada Day next month for sure, or a holiday, and then we should have a few more people coming on. So, any other questions?
You might remember that Canada always has a Monday a month off.
So I'll try and figure out which Monday it is when they're having off. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, without fail, one holiday per month, for some reason they give, and it's a Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. They take it from the British Bank Holiday Monday.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So nice to see you. And if you can just check out my website for me just to make sure it's working okay. You can even do a pretend order and pretend, no, you don't have to order, but just do a pretend thing, go through the process, and then you can say, I'm going to pay by bank transfer. And then, of course, you don't have to, of course, because then I can check it all out, make sure it's all working from India, from
Perfect.
Canada,
And
etc.
I'll check your links also.
Thank you. That would be appreciated. Okay, well, lovely to see you. Well, some of you.
Thank you.
I hear from you anyway. Take care and
Thank you, Jen.
have a great summer. Okay.
Bye.
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 Thank you, Jen.